Hi guys, there's been a lot of talk about retirement in Malaysia, especially this year. So if you're a foreigner intending to retire in Malaysia, there's one important component that you need to know, which is your retirement visa. So do you know there's two retirement visas currently now in Malaysia? The first one is called MM2H, which is by the federal government. The second one is called SMM2H, which is Sarawak, Malaysia, my second home. So what's the difference? Earlier in June 2024 this year, the federal government has announced a new set of requirements for MM2H. And do check out our video about that. We cover it extensively there. Now in today's video, we're going to visit the latest requirements as updated by the Sarawak's government, the SMM2H, that's going to be effective 1st January 2025. And we're going to compare the difference between SMM2H and MM2H. What's the difference? How does that impact you? So stay tuned to find out. Hi everyone, I'm John, one half of the Corporate Breakout Couple. I'm Singaporean, my wife is Malaysian from Penang, and we both early retired in 2020. First in Singapore, and in 2022, we shifted over to Penang, Malaysia. And we love covering videos around cost of living, retirement destinations, about financial literacy, especially when we get to all these lovely destinations like Malaysia and sharing with you in detail what it is all about. So do hit the like button and subscribe to join our channel so that we can create more videos like this for you. Sarawak is a state in East Malaysia that has a huge biodiversity, a rich cultural heritage and history comprising of 27 ethnic groups, and an exciting nature haven. What's not to like about Sarawak? Being the largest state in Malaysia as a whole, Sarawak is huge. It is actually as big as the entire West Malaysia itself. Yes, that's right. And just like West Malaysia, you can find plenty of good food in Sarawak as well. Okay, let's dive into the new requirements for SMM2H as effective 1st January 2025. And there's something new that's very important, and this new requirement is that the applicants must be citizens of countries that have diplomatic relations with Malaysia. This is a key criteria. And if you want to find out more about SMM2H, there's this very good article on that tourism website that we're going to go through soon on all the full list of requirements that's needed for SMM2H. This is a document that you can download from the tourism website, and this is a PDF that actually details down the various requirements. So let's go through. The first thing, of course, is the eligibility in terms of having diplomatic relations with Malaysia. And the next one is on the minimum stay. So there's a cumulative minimum stay of 30 days in Sarawak that you need to stay in order for you to then be able to, guess what, live in the rest of Malaysia. That's right, you can actually spend 30 days in Sarawak, and the rest of the time you can be actually in any other part of Malaysia. And let's talk about the fixed deposit. The fixed deposit is the key one that's changed from previously 300,000 ringgit to now 500,000 ringgit per applicant, which also includes your dependents, your spouse, all that inclusive within this 500,000 ringgit fixed deposit that you need to put in. Of course, they also allow you to withdraw 50% of the FD placement after 1 year in the program for the purpose of buying a house. Buying a house is optional in Sarawak, and you can also use it for car, medical, and children's education in Sarawak, should you choose to. Okay, let's look at the offshore income. Offshore income, there's two types. One is having a recurring income. Is 10,000 ringgit per individual, or 15,000 if you have dependents. Let's say you have a family and you need to show 15,000 proof of funds that's coming in every month if you have a family. Or the other alternative is you can show that as an individual you have 100,000 ringgit somewhere in your bank account in other parts of the world, or you show 200,000 ringgit for your whole family. Let's say if you are from the UK, you have enough pounds that fills up 200,000 ringgit worth, then you actually fulfill this offshore income criteria. So it's not necessarily a recurring income that you need to produce. For the age eligibility, you're looking at 30 years and above. Okay, that's really young. And in terms of the past duration, it's actually a 5 plus 5 visa. So maximum is 10 years. For the first 5 years, that's what you are given, and then you can renew it for another 5 years. And after that, after 10 years, you need to apply as a new applicant. So that's one of the criteria for SMM2H. And of course, in terms of liquid asset, you can actually buy property purchase, all right, for 30 years and above, and you need to buy, with certain requirements based on their terms, and the rest of them are more standard things. Of course, you are not eligible to work. Usually when you get a retirement visa, you don't have the eligibility to work like a permanent resident. And of course, there are key other things that you can look through yourself. From this document, you can find it on the tourism website of Sarawak. Let's now look at MM2H, the federal government version for West Malaysia. Later, we'll do a comparison together with SMM2H and let's find out what's the difference. But for MM2H, there's 3 tiering as we have shared in our June video. Again, do check it out. We will cover more in detail there. There's silver tiering, gold tiering, and platinum, of which, if you notice already, there's different varying requirements. You need 150,000 US dollars for silver for your fixed deposit, $500,000 for gold, and 1 million US dollars for platinum, of which the participation fee is also varies. Of course, platinum being the highest, a lot more than gold and silver because of obviously attracting high net worth people, which one of the key difference as well for them is the varying property amount. Now later I'll cover about SM2H, whether you need to buy a property or not, right? But for MM2H, you must buy a property. 600,000 for silver, 1 mil for gold, and a minimum of 2 mil for platinum. The past validity is 20 years for platinum, 15 years for gold, and 5 years for silver. And for platinum, you're allowed to work. Yes, you can do business and work, while silver and gold is quite discretionary. And you can bring your dependents, your spouse, your parents, your kids. And the maximum amount that you can withdraw from your fixed deposit earlier, when you saw these 3 values, is 50%. Up to 50% you can use it for property, for education and tourism purposes. And then there are other healthcare education benefits that you're eligible to and other requirements. But generally, these are the main requirements of MM2H, the federal version. Let's now compare the difference between MM2H and SMM2H, starting with properties. You need to buy a property for MM2H. Yes, for the silver, gold, and platinum tier, there are different requirements. You need to be buying them in order for eligibility to stay in Malaysia, and there are certain requirements for you as well in terms of holding on to the property and also selling it and rebuying a property of a certain value. Again, do check out the final requirements in our previous video. For SMM2H, Sarawak's MM2H, you don't need to buy a property. It's optional, and actually the fixed deposit amount that you put in, that I'll review again later, you can actually use part of that, half of that actually, for your property purchase too. In terms of past validity, it's 5 years for silver, gold 10 years, platinum 20 years for MM2H, and these are renewable in blocks of 5 years. The difference for SMM2H is 5, and then you need to go for extension for another 5 years, and that's it. After 10 years, you need to go for a new application. So this is one of the key differences between the two. And the next one is fixed deposit. For fixed deposit, for MM2H, the 3 tiering are in US dollars. Please take note, 150K for silver, 500K for gold, and 1 mil for platinum, of which you can use 50% for properties. Well, for SMM2H, it's in ringgit. That's right, 500,000 ringgit, which is roughly around 115,000 US dollars as of today's exchange rate, and 50% can be used for purposes like properties as well. The days that you need to stay in order to fulfill your visa requirements is 90 cumulative days, meaning within one calendar year of 365 days, you need to stay 90 days of that in West Malaysia in order for you to qualify for this MM2H. For SMM2H, you only need to stay 30 days. Again, another key difference between the two visas. And finally, we have offshore income. As of now, for MM2H, it is not declared that you need any offshore income besides the property and fixed deposit. For SMM2H, you do need an offshore income if it's recurring, as I mentioned earlier when we covered 10K for individual, 15K ringgit for a whole family of dependencies, or you can show proof of funds. 100,000 ringgit worth in your other bank accounts in other parts of the world as an individual, or 200,000 for dependency or rather for a whole family, that's all you need to show, 200,000 ringgit. So actually, if you look at the amount, it's actually pretty easy to satisfy. And this is the last kicker that you want to know. That is, SMM, or rather MM2H, the federal government version, only allows you to stay in West Malaysia only. It doesn't allow you to stay in Sarawak. It doesn't allow you to stay in Sabah, which is the east side. Whereas for SMM2H, it allows you to stay in the entire West and East Malaysia as long as you cover the 30 cumulative days in Sarawak. The rest of the time, you can be any other part of Malaysia, and that is another key difference. There you have it, the latest requirements on SMM2H, as well as comprehensive comparisons between the updated MM2H in June 2024. Now, Malaysia is a beautiful and wonderful place to retire in. That's why Fran and I are there as well. And we have explored all 13 states between East and West Malaysia, and we can tell you it's really beautiful. So retiring in Malaysia actually doesn't need as much based on the 2 visa requirements. And I hope this video has given you that incentive, right? The narrative for Malaysia and why you want to retire there. And this is me, John, one half of the Corporate Breakout Couple, signing off. Do hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video to all your friends, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye! Hey, do join us for our free masterclass webinars where you are up your financial literacy, break out the corporate rat race, and gun for your financial independence. Do register for it now.